Good morning, everyone. This is the second in a series of short pieces that I'm doing around social care practice and the current coronavirus pandemic. This morning, I want to address a topic that I'm calling practicing fearlessly. Most of us who are working on the front line of social care have been blessed to have a fairly decent education. Most of us have gone through a degree program in social care, applied social care, or something along those lines. Some of us have come in through, with other degrees like psychology and counselling, and some with nursing, and etc., etc., etc. But by and large, we've all had some education, and that, applying the theory to practice helps alleviate some of our fears on a daily basis. It helps us do our job. So when we're interacting with the clients that we're working with, and we're being presented with challenges, whether they be very simple or whether they be very complex, we have a body of knowledge that we can fall back on. The second factor to that is our experience. So both our personal experience, our personal life experience, and our experience working in the field. And that can also be a protective measure for us. That can add something to our well. It makes our well nice and deep, and that can help with the fears as well. You have confidence in your practice. And then the third factor then is the organisation we work for, the leaders within that organisation, and how they support and manage us. And the safer that we feel in the organisation we work for and with, and the safer that we feel with our leaders and managers, the less fear we have on a daily basis going into work. We know that we're going to be supported and recognised for the work that we do, and we know that if something isn't going right for us, that we have people there who can help us just ameliorate that, help us just calm us down and refocus us. And at this time, during the pandemic, a lot of that goes out the window. And the reason for that is we're now into the great unknown unknowns. And that's not just for us guys at the front line and on the floor, but it's for everyone through the organisation. Everyone is now operating from a perspective of, we don't know what's going on. What can we do to help ourselves? The first thing we can do to help ourselves, or the first practice that I'm doing to try and help myself, is that I'm trying not to focus on the chaos that's out there, especially in the media world. I'm trying to stick to the facts. If I see something on social media that looks a bit chaotic, for my own sanity, I go and look and see, is it real, is it truthful, and what's behind those facts? And if I start to go down a rabbit hole with it, I just leave it there. There are lots of things that I can't change about the pandemic. And so I really try and focus on the stuff that I can change. And then the day-to-day, going into work and working with clients and facing all of that, as a manager, I'm looking at what can we do in services to lessen the fears for you guys on the front line. So it's having really strong policy around, what happens if one of our client group contracts the virus. So operationally, what are we doing? How do we protect ourselves? How do we get them isolated? What PPE equipment have we got on site? Where is it? Is it there accessible and ready? If we isolate someone into a room by themselves, how do we communicate with them? Do we give them walkie-talkies? Do we give them phones? What way does all of that work? put as much structure in place to make sure that everyone knows that they do A, B, C, and D. Now, if that's not happening where you guys are working, what would you normally do then when a risk is heightened in your service? And I know in our service, if a risk is heightened, I would have expectations around my team and me, and the expectations is that we sit down and we have that discussion and conversation. The first point of contact for that would be in supervision. But if you're not being heard in supervision, or supervision's being cancelled, or whatever, how then do you manage risk? And I know one of the things that in my practice, going back all the years that I'm working in social care, I would risk assess. I'd risk assess in here, but I'd also risk assess on paper. So if you're being asked to do something and you think that this, whatever you're being asked to do, is really heightening the risk to a dangerous level, well, sit down with a risk assessment document, or write up a risk assessment document for yourself and ask the questions. What is the risk? That should be the first question. What is the risk? And define what the risk is. And then, how do I best manage this risk? And define that as well. Because the solution might be within yourself. But ask the question, how do I best manage? And then when you've defined how do I best manage, then, well, who did I discuss this risk with? Because if it's a risk, you should never be just making that decision by yourself. You should be discussing it with someone. So if you have a teammate on shift with you, discuss it with them. And when you've done all of that, what's the solution to this risk? So let's say what I've been reading a lot online is PPE equipment. So what is the risk? Lack of PPE equipment. Why is this a risk? We are being asked to deal with very vulnerable clients who are or potentially are carrying the COVID virus, and we are at risk of spreading it to everyone else. How do I best manage the risk? So this is where you need to dig in. You best manage the risk by looking after social distancing, all the stuff that you can actually manage without the PPE equipment, right? That's what you're looking at. And then after that then is, what else can we do to do this? And then we can make an appeal to managers, provide us with PPE. And what you do is you sign that, and you get whoever else is on shift with you to sign it. You scan it or you photograph it, and you put that on the hard file and you email it, and now you've built your evidence trail. So if all of this goes down the pan, you've done everything that you can do. You've tried to address it in supervision. You've tried to talk to your management about it. And now you've actually put it on paper. Here's the risk. And that's all you can do. Don't practice with fear. Don't let fear overcome you. It's a natural state to be worried, and it's a natural state to feel some stress. But if you do things to support yourself, both inside and outside of work, inside, follow the protocols, do your risk assessments. If there's not protocols in place, look at writing the protocols yourself and going to management and saying, look, if someone comes down with the virus, this is what I think we should do. I think we should have an isolation room. I think we should have direct phone contact with the HSE. I think we should do this. I think we should do that. I think we should have dead-all wipes. I think we should have a way of communicating with someone if we isolate them. I don't think we should be going into the room. Whatever, you write your policy. And all of this sort of stuff will lessen your fear. If managers and leaders in organisations aren't doing that, and that's leaving you in a feared state, well, you need to take control of whatever you can take control of. We have the education. We have the experience. On a normal day-to-day basis, risk assessing is something that we automatically do. So let's not get focused in blaming other individuals for stuff that's not happening for us. Let's put something in place one, to start looking after ourselves now, and two, when we start to come out the other side of this, if there is questions being asked of organisations, you have done what you could do, and you've also documented it. You've also sent the emails. All the evidence is there, and you can walk away as a social care worker knowing that you have followed the best practice that a social care worker can follow. Outside of work, I would say to you, find something that helps calm you outside of work. Try and stay away from as much of social media as you can, and find something that calms you. It's early in the morning now. It's let me have a look at my watch. It's now 9:05. I've been down on at the seafront in Bray. It's where I am now. I've been down here since 6:30 this morning. I drive down, I get out of my car, I go for a little walk along the prom, and I sit on the wall looking out at the sea. It's something I just find very, very calming. And I sit there and I just listen to the waves. I don't do anything else. I'll show you. So this is where I am, and that's the sea over there. There's Bray Head up there. You can see it. So that's what I do every day. Every morning, I come out here and I just chill. I find it really sets me up for the day. As a lot of you are probably aware, my wife was diagnosed COVID positive. So she's at home and she's been very, very unwell. And for the first 3 or 4 days, I let my fear completely overwhelm me, and it made it really difficult for both of us. Because all I could think of was how ill she's going to get, and what happens if she ends up in hospital and she could die. And in fact, none of that happened. She's just very, very ill. But we're managing really, really well. So after 3 or 4 days, I was going, get your head together, jump back on the bike. Everything's going well. Focus on what you can do. So the stuff that I could do was make sure that she was, eating well, make sure that she was well hydrated, make sure she had any medication that she needed, do the positive stuff, and then look after myself, come out and get some fresh air, get my head into a good space. And I've been doing little vlogs and bits and pieces like that, and supporting other social care workers online, and doing a bit of online supervision, and doing lots of stuff just to keep me going and keep me busy while I'm also in isolation. And hopefully by next Wednesday that'll all be lifted and I'll be back on the front line again. I'm 2 weeks out of work and I've missed being at work. So don't let fear overwhelm you. Practice fearlessly. We entered this type of career for a reason. We all have our why we do what we do. Social care workers are resilient, imaginative, flexible individuals who do a great job right across all the sectors that we work across. So, if you listen to this at any stage, sit yourself down and reflect for, half an hour, 40 minutes, and have a really good think about, what am I doing today that I'm fearful of, and then how can I ameliorate my self responses to that fear, because the fear is only paralysing you. It's not going to paralyse anyone else. It's only paralysing you. So work strong, work well, and work without fear. And I hope the next few weeks go well for you. Cheers.